Welcome to the November Community Oversight Board. Before we get started, I would like to read the appeal statement. Pursuant to the provisions of 2.68.030 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws, please take notice that decisions of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County Community Oversight Board may be appealed to the Chancery Court of Davidson County for review under a common law writ of cert. Any appeal must be filed within 60 days after entry of a final decision by the board. Any person or other entity considering an appeal should consult with an attorney to ensure that time and procedural requirements are met. Thank you for that. And before we get started, if we can get a quick roll call to make sure that we have quorum. And I'm going to go by how they are appearing on my screen. Dr. Lewis?
I'm here.
Ms. Ross?
Present.
Board Member Goddard?
Present.
Board Member Sweeney?
Present.
Board Member Witzel?
Here.
Board Member Hughes?
I'm here.
Board Member Holloway? Board Member Holloway, if you can unmute and just pronounce it, that you're here.
Holloway here.
Great. That, if my count is correct, we do have quorum. And before we get started, Todd, if you can do the electronic meeting statement.
Absolutely. So on October 28th, Governor Lee extended his suspension of the in-person quorum requirements with Executive Order number 65. That order is set to expire December 27th. So for today's meeting, we'll need a motion and a second and a vote to approve to meet electronically to conduct essential business and to protect the safety and welfare of Tennesseans. But as an aside, I would just remind everyone that if they're not called on by Chair or Vice Chair Campbell Gooch, to state their names before speaking, just to keep the record clear.
Matt Sweeney, so moved.
Drew Goddard, second.
Thank you for that. And so we're going to do a roll call vote. Dr. Lewis?
Aye.
Member Ross?
Aye.
Member Goddard?
Aye.
Member Sweeney?
Aye.
Member Witzel?
Aye.
Member Hughes?
Aye.
Member Holloway?
Aye.
Thank you. So today, we have a few things on the agenda. But before we get into it, I will be facilitating Andreas. Chair Andreas is out of town today, so hopefully we'll be able to move efficiently through this. So first on the agenda is we have the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Member Hughes here. I move to approve the minutes.
And Adele Lewis, I'll second.
Thank you.
Just for clarification, there are two sets of minutes this time?
Thank you for that, Board Member Sweeney. Give me 1 second. Okay, yes, we have the October 28th, 2020 minutes to approve. So do I need to get a different motion in order to approve the very specific minutes?
I think for this, the clarity in the record, it'd be easier just to do two separate motions, one for the special meeting and one for the last full board meeting.
Okay, so let's do the special meeting first. So is there a motion to approve the special meeting minutes?
For clarification, Chair, this is Timothy Hughes here. So if I were to make a motion for approval of each of the minutes, would there need to be I just want to make sure I understand. The motion is to approve the special meeting first or the other meeting minutes first?
Right, so what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have two separate motions for each separate minutes. The first, and I'm saying like we should do the special meeting first, approve that one first, and then take a second motion to approve the last full board meeting.
Okay.
And just for clarity, the special call meeting is dated October the 23rd.
I'll second Mr. Hughes's motion on the 1023 minutes. Mrs. Sweeney?
Thank you. Any focused discussion? I don't see any hands raised, so we'll do a roll call vote. Member Lewis?
Aye.
Member Davis?
Aye.
Member Ross?
Aye.
Member Goddard?
Aye.
Member Sweeney?
Aye.
Member Witzel?
Aye.
Member Hughes?
Aye.
Member Holloway?
Aye.
Thank you. That is the approval of the special meeting minutes on October 23rd. Next are the minutes from the full board meeting on October 28th. So do I have a motion to approve?
This year, I move to approve the meeting minutes for October 28th.
This is Brenda Ross, and I approve second.
Thank you. So there's no focus, no hands up. So I'm assuming there's no focused discussion. So roll call vote. Member Lewis?
Aye.
Member Davis?
Aye.
Member Ross?
Aye.
Member Goddard?
Aye.
Member Sweeney?
Aye.
Member Witzel?
Aye.
Member Hughes?
Aye.
Member Holloway?
Aye.
Thank you. That was the vote to approve the full board meeting on the minutes for the full board meeting on October 28th. The Chair Martinez has an update that he sent me, and I will read it off. And this is what it says. While I'm not able to attend the meeting today, I wanted to give the board a quick update. On October 29th, I interviewed the 5 finalists for police chief, along with Davidson County Sheriff Darren Hall, Dr. Forrest Harris, president of American Baptist College, Kathleen O'Toole, former Seattle Police Department chief, Sharon Roberson, YWCA of Nashville and Middle Tennessee president and CEO, and Kristen Wilson, Metro Government of Nashville and Davidson County Chief of Operations and Performance. We considered each candidate carefully before making some final recommendations to the mayor. I hope the mayor will make a decision soon so we can begin or continue engaging with the new chief and establishing a cooperative relationship. The executive committee met last week, and we discussed a few items. We decided we needed to go to the board for further consideration. They are part of the agenda today. I'm grateful for all of your hard work and dedication. and dedication, and wish you all a happy holiday next week. So those are the chair remarks. I'm going to get it out of the way. Executive Director, you have the floor.
Thank you. I wanted to introduce or have Captain Lara introduce himself, and he's here on the call from MMPB, and he's the Chief Diversity Officer. He's going to be the new liaison, and so Captain Lara, if you would take the opportunity to introduce yourself to the board and tell us what this new job is about and how you'll be collaborating with the COB, that would be great.
Yes, thank you, Director Fitchard. I appreciate it. I appreciate you all allowing me to be part of this board meeting. My name is Carlos Lara, and I was recently, as Director Fitchard said, appointed the Chief Diversity Officer of the department. One of the main responsibilities I have is to really be a liaison between the chief and his office and the department and the oversight board, your community oversight board, as well as the all members and the director. Really, my job is to try to keep an open line of communication between the board and the chief. Any issues, any concerns that y'all will have that need to be addressed by the chief or the department, I will be that person that you can come to, bring those concerns and issues to, and I will go back to Chief Drake and make sure that he is aware, and with his guidance, we'll make sure that we find the answers that we need to get back to the board. So really, I'm here, to be that open line of communication for yourselves and the chief and the department. Anything I can do to help, please feel free to contact me. I can get you all my cell phone number and email, and I look forward to working with you. And I appreciate, again, allowing me to be a part of this board meeting.
Thank you. Thank you for being here and letting us know what it is how we can connect and get the information that we need to get to Chief Drake or Deputy Chief Hagar. So we appreciate you being here. I'm going to start with my executive director's report. So we met 3 weeks ago. Because of that, we have this is a short month. My executive director's report is going to be pretty brief because things have been moving steadily along without incident. So I'm going to start with the office. So we have continued to work mostly remotely with only a few staff members in the office. Since there's been a spike in the COVID numbers, I have asked that the MNCO staff cut back on their in-office appointments for safety purposes. There has also been new guidance given to departments from the Metro Human Resources office regarding working remotely, which seems very helpful. I haven't sat down with Assistant Director Clausey to kind of go through that package that they sent because they just sent it yesterday. But I do think that, most departments are going to continue to telecommute for the foreseeable future. We also, to give you an update, we have our video cameras are going to be installed. The server was installed to house the interviews. That was done yesterday, and they're going to come in and put our camera and our mics in, hopefully by the end of this week, if not the beginning of next week. And so we still don't have the position filled for the investigator, so we still have that remains unfilled. We've had some training happen this month. We received only 1 investigative complaint. We assisted with 6 non-complaint calls since our last board meeting. So some of the calls are slowing down. I guess people are recognizing that some of the calls that we have received really go to other departments and agencies. We've had calls regarding like public works or, things like that. And so I think that that is slowing down a little because people are recognizing, that they're dialing our number for different agencies that they need, or departments. The community outreach, our community liaison, Brinzy Thompson, she completed the fall newsletter that went out to our subscribers and also to our website and socials. We're working on some educational outreach endeavors to make the public aware of the services that we offer, specifically around how to file complaints, the process, and the difference between administrative and criminal investigations. As I spoke with Deputy Chief Hagar earlier this week in regards to the rank and file officers, there is still some misinformation in regards to how the investigative process works. And so we are working really hard. Brinzy and I have talked about it and making certain that we have some information that we can get to the rank and file officers so that they understand what the process looks like, and also, you know, once they get a letter, what the process is, and then how they can connect with us or call us if they have questions. So that's in the works now. We also have 2 research advisory proposals initiated by NOAA and the NAACP. Those will come up a little later in this meeting, and Dr. Valier will get into those and give you more information. On Friday, October the 30th, myself, A.D. Clausey, and legal advisor Mr. Robert Pinkley met with the TBI director, Mr. Rausch, and his team to discuss the proposed MOU between the TBI and the COB. The TBI has proposed language changes that would give the COB and NMPD concurrent access to crime scenes. So we talked about that, we went through that, and so there was a little concern that, you know, they didn't want one agency to have more access than another one. So they wanted us to have like that contemporaneous access. And so they were going to change that language, kind of work it out so that we both have the same access. And so they are supposed to get back with us. And once they do, I'll make certain that I bring that to the board. We had an MOU meeting on Thursday, November the 12th. And so it was basically Deputy Chief Hagar and myself finalizing the agreed upon language to the updates for the MMPD and COB MOU. The MOU was sent to Metro Legal for final review, as well as it was sent to the negotiation task force participants. I received that back today with all the changes, and it is ready to be signed. I signed it. Mr. Cooper will sign it. They have asked that once Mr. Martinez signed it, that we get it over to Chief Drake for his signature, and then, of course, Metro Legal Director Bob Cooper. So I made certain that they are aware that the MOU, even though it's in its final stages, that it has to go back before the executive committee. And so I just wanted to let you all know that the final copy is ready. We're just waiting on signatures, and then we will get it back in front of the board for its final approval. The DAG COB MOU, which is the one with the District Attorney General and the COB, that was filed with the county clerk's office on November the 3rd, 2020. And the MNCO investigative staff are currently receiving records without incident because of that agreement. So that's great. So we had proposed resolution reports. We had a special board meeting that was held on October the 23rd. You all heard your first PRR. It was approved with a slight modification of the recommended action. So that recommended action was sent to interim Chief Drake for consideration, as well as the investigative file was uploaded to Deputy Chief Hagar for review. We have asked that MNPD create a shared drive so that we can get the file up to get it to them really quickly without having to like put it on a jump drive and then try to get it mailed to them and all of that. So they're working on that now. I received acknowledgement back once I sent the PRR that MNPD is working towards a process of receiving, reviewing, and responding to the PRRs. And once that process is complete, they will inform me, and then I will inform you. And we also have, I'm working on 2 PRRs that I received from Assistant Director Clausey, and we are working on those, and hopefully I'll have those complete so that they can go in front of the board in December. And then lastly, we have a referral to we made a referral to OPA. There was an attorney, Daniel Horowitz, filed a complaint on behalf of his client. It was stemming from an incident that occurred in July of 2018. He was requesting that an investigation be conducted into some officer misconduct or refer the complaint to the Office of Professional Accountability for investigation. I sent that investigation to the Office of Professional Accountability because of the COB's timeframe limitation. This incident happened in July of 2018. I believe that the misconduct was, the alleged misconduct came out during a sentencing hearing, which happened in December of 2019. But because the original incident was in July of 2018, I referred it to OPA. And so I sent that to Director Moranti. And so hopefully, I haven't heard back from her to say that she received it, but hopefully they will be able to do the investigation on that. And then lastly, I want to say that I received a call yesterday from Council Member Jennifer Gamble. She is the chair of the Public Safety Committee. She informed me of a special called meeting that included personnel, Public Safety Committee of the Council, the Public Works and Traffic, Parking and Transportation Committees. That took place on 11/10/20. It was related to license plate readers and security video technology. She stated that there were a lot of experts invited to this meeting, experts from like Vanderbilt, Public Works, multiple public safety entities from, across the country, as well as the meeting was attended by DA Glenn Funk and Assistant DA Jenny Charles. She stated that legislation related to this particular meeting is BL 2020-457. And she said, however, there was a substitute bill that passed last night that removed the license plate readers out of that particular legislation. The license plate readers are attached to another bill, which is BL 2020-494. So there was some concern. So BL 2020-457 provides safeguards around security technology. And so that it passed on second, so it has another layer to go through the city council. But she invited me to a subsequent meeting, which will take place on Monday, November the 23rd, to speak about what the community concerns might be. And so my response to her was that I really don't have any knowledge at this point of what the community concerns are, because I don't believe that people were aware that this meeting was taking place. I surely wasn't aware that the meeting was taking place. And so I don't know if anyone could have been in attendance or even have the information that they needed, regarding this type of legislation and whatever it is that they are trying to, regarding the safety technology. Like, I don't know what safety technology they're talking about since they removed the license plate readers. And so that still is unclear. And maybe it'll be cleared up in this Monday meeting. So that concludes my executive director's report. I do want to say that if you want to look at that meeting is on YouTube under City Council committee meetings. And it's just called a specially called safety meeting. And that concludes my executive director report. If you have any questions, I'm ready to take them.
Thank you. Thank you for that very succinct report, Director Fisher. If there's any questions, feel free to raise your hand. Member Davis.
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair Campbell-Gooch. Executive Director Fisher, you said you hadn't heard from Ms. Morante. Is there plans? It seems like it's been, about a week plus since you sent, or maybe longer, since you sent that communication. Is there plans to reach back out to her, or any understanding of why she hasn't responded to such an important communication about the request for an investigation?
Yeah, I'm planning on reaching out. It has been, I sent it last Thursday, so I think it was last Thursday. So I was gonna wait. I wanted to give her, at least a few days, and so I can reach out to her in the morning and just make certain that she receives my email with that information and the complaint. And I'm not aware whether she has reached out to Attorney Horowitz, but I made certain that he was also on the email chain. So I hadn't heard back from him either. So I will reach out to her tomorrow to make certain that she has it and has reached out to him.
Okay, Thank you. And then secondly, regarding Chairwoman Gamble in this meeting last November 10th, so that sounds like it was on a Tuesday. Lots of thoughts, but if a meeting is so important that it would have such distinguished members of Nashville's leadership from various corners of our city in attendance, virtually otherwise, any understanding why it seems the COB would be such an afterthought to reach out to you by phone call after the fact? Is there a record of this meeting? And did someone in the meeting say, "Oh, where is the COB?" And then after the fact, the councilwoman decided to reach out to you, or was it, "Oh, you know," I'm trying to understand why is it that all of a sudden now they want to figure out how the community feels about it without first centering the community in the first place?
Yeah, great question. No, that wasn't clear. You know, she just talked about who was there, the experts. She talked a little bit. She said that Councilmember Rosenberg proposed this legislation a while ago, and then it came back up regarding, I guess it had something to do initially with the ring, you know, with the ring systems and doorbells, and I guess your own personal, if a person has personal security video footage at their home, that I guess police departments can go directly to the ring and get your information, I guess without notifying you that this is happening. And so she talked a little bit about that. And then of course, my response is, I think this is something that the community would be concerned about. You know, surveillance and surveilling of advocates and activists is not something new. It's been happening, and there is some concern. But because I wasn't in part of the meeting, I don't really know what the community would be thinking at this point, because I don't even know if the community was aware that this safety meeting was happening, because I wasn't aware either. So, yeah, there wasn't a clear answer regarding that.
Thank you. And just lastly, Director Fisher, I was just, you know, this is just one member's opinion here. I just, considering that, you know, how busy your schedule is, how important the mission and purpose of this board and what we serve here is, I would counsel that, you know, advise rather that your response be in writing to Chairwoman Gamble, just to echo the important points you just made, so that there is a record of why we can't engage just on the fly here, and that noted, you know, you need notice here, because engaging the community takes time, and you need to make sure you do it thoughtfully. But that's all I would say on the matter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Davis. Member Ross.
Thank you very much for acknowledging me. And I want to say that I appreciate the remarks of Board Member Davis. However, I was somehow came across that meeting and viewed the meeting from the beginning to the end. And I was very concerned that we were not at the table, and also no community members were at the table. So I would like to follow up on maybe another thing too. We need to start watching when there are public safety meetings on the Metro Council's agendas. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Member Walsh. Yeah, I also just happened to come across it as well, and I'm also like concerned from both what the last two members of the board just mentioned, that both checking in with the community is going to take time, and this feels like they're trying to rush it in without getting any input. I'm curious, Director Fisher, where do you think we go from here?
Well, I think that I really don't know what the meeting on Monday is going to do, because we wouldn't have enough time to talk to the community. So I think being in attendance to say that to them, is important. That connecting with the community, letting them know that this is a bill that's out there. The bill is the protective and the safeguard, but I don't know what the substance of this meeting, because I haven't watched the meeting because it's 2 hours long. I just haven't had time. So I'm going to view the meeting between sometime tonight and tomorrow morning to kind of get a better understanding of the nuts and bolts of what they were discussing, and what type of, security technology they're talking about. Because they're not talking about the license plate readers, from my understanding, just exclusively. So I don't really know. So I think at this point, maybe attending the meeting just to get an understanding. But of course, if I go to the meeting, or when I go, I will not have information that they are looking for, because I wouldn't be able to gather that information from our community. So I think maybe going and just finding out who's going to be in attendance, what this follow-up meeting is really about, because that wasn't real clear either. I don't think it will be, of course, with the experts. It will probably just be with the Public Safety Committee and some of the other smaller committees that were in attendance.
Thank you. And Member Sweeney, I see your hand raised, but before we go to, I just wanted to say, I think this is a place that we plug in our community liaison. Maybe Ms. Brenzy can send it out to folks via our email serve, just to kind of make those community groups and the members aware. But that's just one thing that was just coming to mind as you were speaking, Director Fisher. Member Sweeney.
Is this bill scheduled for a third reading, and when?
Actually, I have it. Oh, I have it pulled up. Give me 1 second. All right. So let's see here. It passed on first reading on 10/6, approved with a substitute on 11/17, and it doesn't say on their website. Let me see, action details. Hold on 1 second. It says passed on second reading upon motion. I don't know if that will be considered. It will have another reading, but it doesn't say what the date is.
Right. Well, that was just my concern. Can it be called up on short notice here for a third reading before we have a chance to have any true substantive input? And whether it might be appropriate to touch base with the sponsor, Councilman Rosenberg, to let him know that we have just become aware of this, and that we would like to be advised before it comes up for third reading, so that we have a substantive opportunity to provide input if we wish to.
Okay.
And also the license plate reader bill that you said has passed first reading. Do we know when that's scheduled for second reading?
No, but I can look it up while we're talking, and I can tell you.
Okay. And is that, do you know whether that bill has to do with basically traffic cams that are licenses, or is it something else?
From my understanding, it is dealing with getting license plates. It's regarding drag racing in a certain area of the city that has become a nuisance. And so it's specifically about that particular issue. And I don't know if it's going to be set up all around the city. I just know that in that particular area, from my understanding, it's going to be set up there.
Right. But I would presume that if there's going to be a proposal for there to be license readers, that would be something that we would want to weigh in on and get community input. And that's something that we should monitor closely to find out what it's about and what its timing is, so that we can figure out what we need to do about it.
Okay. I will get more information on it. I for some reason, I'm not able to pull it up on this website of theirs right now.
Thank you for that, Member Sweeney. I see your hand is still up. Do you have any other comments or questions?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other, that's definitely a point of curiosity for me personally. Are there any other questions around the executive director's report? Questions or comments? Ms. Ross, I see your hand.
Yes, it depends on what reading that this bill is going before. If it's going to like the third reading, then I think not only the sponsor should be emailed about our concerns, but the full Metro Council be emailed.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Totally agree. Because it's definitely troubling that we did not get called in on the first one. Okay, thank you. I want to just keep space. Ms. Ross, Member Ross, is that your hand is still raised? Just checking in with you. Thank you. Director Fisher.
I thought I saw Captain Laura's hand up. But it's down now, so I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. I actually did for a quick second. I've got to get used to this format. But I did speak to Ms. Morante regarding your email. She did state that she has received it and you will be receiving a response soon. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's not any more questions or concerns about the executive director's report, we can move on to the policy advisory report proposals. And we have 2 on the agenda today.
This is Peter Valier. Thank you for that, Vice Chair Campbell Gooch. We have 2 policy advisory report proposals that have been requested by community groups. The first that I'm going to talk about is crisis-related calls for service and effective practices for diversion to non-police crisis responders. This was requested by NOAA, Nashville Organized for Action and Hope. The Criminal Justice Working Group contacted me and requested that we look at conducting research on mental illness-related calls for service and the amount of calls received that could potentially be diverted to a non-police crisis response program, as well as the procedures used by 911 call centers around the country in order to screen calls for diversion into alternative response programs. And that request, also brings up some larger issues around the types of calls for service that could potentially be diverted into non-police crisis response, and looking at programs around the country that are based off of the CAHOOTS model, which is a non-law enforcement-based peer crisis support service that's dispatched by 911 dispatchers. They take a variety of different types of calls for service, and those are diverted directly from dispatch. So based on that, we would be able to estimate a potential need based on different programs from around the country, and estimate where and how many calls may be eligible for an alternative response. And that would be a first step before being able to create a cost estimate would be trying to estimate some of the, the scope of what a program would need to look like in order to address any unmet need. And based on the conversations I had with NOAA, as well as the background research that we conducted, we developed a proposal, which is, both proposals are on the Community Oversight website under the Policy Advisory Report page. And we developed 3 specific research questions on estimating the calls of service that could potentially be diverted to non-police crisis responders, the geographic areas where divertible calls are concentrated. So if there were pilot programs, we would understand better those areas where those pilot programs could be launched, as well as talking with the 911 call center and Department of Emergency Communications, as well as programs from across the country to look at effective practices for emergency communications, screening, and diversion. And that would be one proposal to look at those 3 questions. The second proposal that we received was discussed at the last board meeting and came from the NAACP. And at the last board meeting, board members asked that we move forward on developing a proposal in order to look at background investigations after the NAACP discussed an incident where an officer was hired and who has now subsequently been charged in a homicide that took place prior to starting employment with the police department. And that incident took place prior to the timeframe jurisdiction that the Community Oversight Board of NCO has. But there are some underlying policy issues that are ripe for our research and policy aims. And so we would not be looking specifically at that one incident. There is an open criminal investigation and criminal charges on that incident. However, we would look at the underlying questions around the criteria used in background checks and how they're conducted in the recruitment process. And we'd specifically look at how past incidents of violence or use of force and what are the disqualifiers for employment eligibility. And then we would also ask what are the processes for investigating potential biases of recruits prior to employment by MNPD, and then how those are screened for and used in the recruiting process. And that would look at some of those underlying issues, since we're not able to look specifically and investigate the incident for any potential misconduct. What we would be able to do is research on the background check process and the recruitment process in order to see if there's any areas where improvements could be made and that the board would feel would assist the police department with recruiting the best candidates to be police officers in Nashville. With these 2 proposals, we are already working on a audit of use of force records from 2019, and with our work scope, we would only be able to take one at a time of these proposals. We estimate that the NAACP proposal would we may be able to have a draft to the board by January. Though we're also working on the annual report, which is due based on state law at the end of January. So we would be able to work on one of these at a time, both valuable questions that would be very important for the community, and both seem to be topics that the board generally would like to be engaged on And so the question I have really is, or that I think needs discussion, is how the board feels that we should prioritize these two requests, and in our scope, looking at sort of the timeframes and our ability to conduct the work.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Dr. Valier. If you have a question for Dr. Valier, or like just an answer for the question that he just proposed, like how do we line these up? How do we prioritize both of these? Please feel free to raise your hand. Director Fisher.
Hi, thank you. We have Mr. Stephen Martini. He is the director over the DEC, and he wants to address the board because he's been in, I guess, in communication with the folks in Eugene, Oregon. And so, Todd, if we can move him, he's an attendant. Let me see where he says. He's in as an attendee, and his number ends at 6250. Can you move him as to participant level? He said he's been working with NOAA as well, and so I think it would be great for the board to hear what he has discovered.
And that is the CAHOOTS model, right?
That's correct.
Dr. Pitcher, could you text me the first three numbers of his number? The last four numbers are blocked out on WebEx.
Oh, okay. Okay, sure. Sorry.
Board Member Ross, I see your hand.
Yes, while we're waiting, I would like to see if there's a representative as an attendee for the NAACP, since we're giving NOAA speaking time.
Mr. Martini should be unmuted.
Yeah, that's correct. I believe. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes, but thank you for joining us. But before we get to that, will there be an opportunity for somebody representing the NAACP to come and talk about the background checks? That's a question for Dr. Fitzgerald.
Sure. I mean, if they want to, I can reach out and find out if they want to come and talk about it. Yeah, that wouldn't be a problem at all. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Director Fisher. Mr. Martini.
Thank you. My name is Steve Martini. I'm the director over the Department of Emergency Communications. Viewing the agenda for the Community Oversight Board today, I saw this as a proposal, and I wanted to at least attend for awareness sake, since we've been in very early conversations. It was Friday, November the 6th, that I met with members of NOAA to discuss their interest in developing some sort of a CAHOOTS-like program that might treat the mental health community here, address mental health concerns inside of Metro Nashville, perhaps maybe in a different light than how policing has been kind of forced into handling these things in the past. I did reach out to colleagues in Oregon, and who connected me to the Eugene, Oregon department that has run this CAHOOTS program for the last 30 years. They gave me some great insight. I had a phone call with them last week, gave me some great insight on what they put together. It's far more developed than what we're talking about implementing here in Nashville immediately. As you can imagine, they've been in place for 30 years compared to us just starting out. But we are in the process already of discussing the types of questions we would ask to identify the types of calls that maybe traditionally have been dispatched to law enforcement, but could be dispatched either to an alternate resource really focused on mental health, either in place of law enforcement or alongside. That's one of the many conversations we have yet to have. I haven't had that conversation with the police department yet either. We're just in the early stages. Our focus right now is to develop call protocols. We already have call protocols for emergency medical calls and fire calls to really appropriately send the right resource based on the complaint type or the symptoms given. This is not outside the realm. We just don't have something like this in place for mental health type calls. So we're working on developing those, we're reaching out through our medical director to identify if there's a behavioral health or mental health professional who would review and sign off on those types of calls. And once we have a process in place that we can identify the calls, I think the appropriate step 2 would be to reach out to our response partners, either in law enforcement or mental health, to determine who would go to these situations and in what capacity, whether it's at the request of law enforcement once they arrive on scene or in place of. That's a lot of that is to be explored. But there's a lot of interest, and I have had a conversation with members of law enforcement who are exploring other alternatives or have been approached by other alternatives as well inside of Interim Chief Drake's tenure, and we're certainly looking at lots of these opportunities. So if there's any questions, what little I may be able to answer, I'm willing to do so.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Mr. Martini, and really appreciate all the work that is being done. If there is any questions for Mr. Martini, please feel free to raise your hand. Also, would love to invite you back where we can have more time to anticipate you being here, where we can develop questions. Also, Mr. Sweeney.
Yes, I would just ask that Mr. Martini directly communicate with Director Fitchard as they're doing their analysis and consideration, since obviously this is an issue where both agencies are interested and have a direct responsibility, and so that we're coordinating and we know what each other is doing.
I'll be glad to do so. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Member Sweeney. Member Ross?
Yes, I also interested in the funding for the services, if they've looked at that, and if they could provide that information to Jill also.
Thank you, Member Ross. Heard. Mr. Member Whittle.
I think Member Sweeney was before me, if he wants to go.
I'm done. I just failed to take my hand down. Thank you.
So yeah, I just wanted to express that I'm glad that we are looking at both of these and helping both the organizations. I'm a part of NOAA as well, and I'm happy that we are extending our hand to help the NAACP. If I'm not, I have maybe 2 questions. If I'm not mistaken, the NAACP was first, correct?
So the conversation that I think the question that was proposed by Dr. Valier was what is our priority here? We can't do both simultaneously, so we have to figure out which one that we want to hold first, and then which one we want to do first, which one we want to take priority.
Correct. Yeah. So I guess my question was the proposal that was brought by the NAACP first. Correct.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's what I wanted clarity on.
I'm not sure specifically which one was first. They were about the same week of October when I heard of both of them, I think in the same week. So I don't know if I could say which one was first.
Gotcha. I guess my question was, if being that we can only work on these one at a time, do we have kind of a time frame for when we would begin and when we wanted to wrap up, and then when we would start work on the other one? Is there like an idea of what that would look like roughly?
This is Peter Valier. So as far as looking at timeframes, the NAACP proposal may be a little bit more streamlined in that we would be able to talk with police HR and the background investigators and be able to put together some of that information, I think, a little quicker. The NOAA proposal, I look forward to working with Mr. Martini and his staff on some of those processes and some of the analysis. That may be a little bit longer, and we may be able to engage in some of those conversations sooner, while also saving some of the analysis for later if that's the decision. So I think the NOAA proposal may be a little bit of a longer project in order to get to a final product, whereas the background checks and then NAACP project may be a little bit more straightforward as a sort of a fact-finding project.
Thank you.
Can I comment on about the background investigation?
Yes, I remember.
Well, it's not nothing wrong with a whole lot of the policy that we have. It's about enforcing them. A guy they terminating that was involved in a shooting in another county, 9 times out of 10, they probably wouldn't hire a lot of people because they'd be scared of some litigation that might pop up. And the people that are doing this background investigation should have known that. So their hiring procedure, like I told you last month, is broken. And they just got to redo it. If the ones that are doing the background investigation not doing a proper job, then they need to get rid of them, move them, change, get somebody else to go and do the job, you know. And like I said, you know, get them from these little small town, and we got good people right here in the city need jobs. And and another thing, we are talking about trying to make all these different decisions for the department, you know, making different changes and stuff. We got to get a staff. We are under, this city is under, don't have the police that we really need to police this city. So when you start pulling people from one department from the other, trying to create other specialized unit, who you have going to be working on the ground troops, you know? And you're talking about cutting their budget, you got to hire some people first. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Member Holloway. So if I understand correctly, Dr. Valier, the MMPD background checks proposal will take less time and be more streamlined than the call for service and mental illness proposal.
I believe so.
Okay. So I'm just curious on which one of these are board members feeling that we should pick up first? Which one of these feel like more urgent than the other? Board Member Sweeney.
Yeah, it looks like the one that can be done most practically, most quickly, would be the one requested by the NAACP. And it also is among the priorities, as I understand them, that has been discussed by the Policing Commission. And since we've got the new chief coming in, or officially appointed, I would suggest, and if it's appropriate, move that we take up the NAACP one first, but that we approve both of them to be done, and that once there's the opportunity to move to the CAHOOTS one formally, that we do so, and in the meantime, kind of coordinate general discussions with Mr. Martini's office.
Thank you for that, Member Sweeney. So if I just make sure I'm getting this, clocking all of this in the right way. So you move that the MMPD background checks proposal be done first, and that we approve both proposals.
Yes.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Chair, Vice Chair, I second that motion.
Thank you. Is there any focused discussion?
Let me say this. It doesn't matter whether you change, do a new policy, If you don't enforce it, what good is it going to do? And the new chief going to have his hand full, and he need to know what it's going to take to make this city better. So one policy behind another, but if you don't enforce, what good is it going to do? You know, if you ain't got the personnel that's going to do the job, you need to rearrange and restructure.
Thank you for that, Mr. Holloway. Mr. Sweeney, Member Sweeney?
Yes, I would suggest that in the policy review that we include the issue which Member Holloway brings up. And, you know, do we have a good written policy that we're not following? Or are there things that are missing from our policy so that we capture both of those?
Thank you for that, Mr. Sweeney. Dr. Valier, is that doable?
Absolutely. We'll make sure that we address that in our report.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Valier. And I have a quick question as far as the one about cahoots. We have a pilot right now that's violence interruption. So I'm just curious if that could be also included into the report as well, the proposal.
We can definitely have some discussion around how that could be incorporated, especially to look at the types of concerns that the Violence Interrupter program is addressing, and how we could use that as a way to especially estimate some of the scope. What they found in some of the published work on cahoots is that they're often getting a segment of calls that the police department wouldn't respond to in the first place because people either don't call the police or they may not, the police wouldn't have even been called at all. And so that may be a good way for us to really work with the existing people that are doing the work on the ground in order to try to understand what the demand would really be and how we could estimate that.
Thank you for that, Dr. Valier. And I just wanted to mention that because the community has been demanding violence interruption since 2016. Sorry. So I just wanted to make sure that the community demands that are already there is also represented in whatever the report looks like as well. But are there any more focused discussions? Mr. Sweeney, is your hand is raised?
Sorry, no.
Okay. So with that being said, roll call vote. Member Davis?
Aye.
Member Goddard?
Aye.
Member Hildreth?
Aye.
Member Hughes?
Aye.
Member Lewis?
Aye.
Member Ross?
Aye.
Member Sweeney?
Aye.
Member Witzel?
Aye.
And Member Holly.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passed. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Martini, for coming up and answering some questions. Thank you, Dr. Valier, for proposing those things. Thank you, Noah. Hopefully we can get somebody from NAACP soon to talk about the background checks, just the motivation behind that proposal. Next on the agenda is the public comments.
We don't have any public comments today.
Hey, thank you. Is there any new business? Member Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell-Gooch, and just want to lead off by thanking Executive Director Fitchett for the reminder rather here. I just want to offer a bit of an update on the police commission for the board's awareness over the last couple of weeks since our last meeting in October. The commission finalized its this committee report, and the final recommendations have been submitted to Mayor Dean and Mr. Dwight Lewis, who lead as co-chairs of that commission. They now have the final recommendations from each of the three committees, and they are with those recommendations and are compiling them with the help of the mayor's staff and Ms. Dia-Cirillo to compile them and then submit them to the mayor in a final report. The chairs and of each committee, as well as the vice chairs of each committee, came together in a series of meetings. I believe it was 2 additional meetings on top of the ones that I'd already told you about. And we just compared notes to see where there was alignment, where we had contradictions, to make sure that we were clear. There weren't many things that weren't clear across the line. There were a few conversations that needed to be held. I will be very clear that there were spaces where we had to, our committee, the policy committee, we were very clear that while it wasn't necessarily in our wheelhouse, we felt very confident that we wanted to speak out and make it very clear in black and white that we wanted to make certain recommendations. And so I still owe Executive Director Fitchett and Mr. Martinez, Chair Martinez, the final copy of the policy report for the chair for our committee, and I'll send that right after this meeting. But I'm happy to say that by and large, it's a report that I believe the CLB will be really proud of. I cannot say that I know what the final report will look like, but as soon as I have it, if it's not at the online, I will send it to the entire board. But that's all that I can share is what I know that is at this point. As far as the other 2 the committees, I'm not I don't have the other 2 committees' information. I did make that request and ask for their information. I sent that by way of Mr. Button as well as Ms. Cirillo and others. I hadn't heard back from that, but I am hopeful that information continues to be community-led and driven. I'm hopeful of that also because it was led by folks like Ms. Roberson, Whitney Washington, and others. And I was very proud to have folks like Amanda Lucas from NOAA by my side. So just wanted to close the loop on that and thank the CLB members and my colleagues here for trusting me and being a part of that.
Thank you, Member Davis, for sticking through there. I know that had to be a heavier lift than what we understand and what you're communicating to us. So I just want to say, thank you. Are there any questions for Member Davis? Okay. Thank you. Is there any other new business or announcements? Director Fitchett.
Yes, the MNCO office will be closed next week for the Thanksgiving holiday on Thursday and Friday.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Director Fisher. If there's not any other new business or announcements, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Adele Lewis says so.
Drew Goddard, so moved. And this is Mr. Hughes. I would second Mr. Goddard's motion.
All right, real quick roll call vote. Member Davis.
Aye.
Member Goddard.
Aye.
Member Hildreth.
Aye.
Member Holloway.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Member Hughes.
Yes, absolutely.
Aye.
Member Lewis.
Aye.
Member Ross.
Aye.
Member Sweeney.
Aye.
And Member Witzel.
Aye.
Thank you all. Y'all have a great holiday. Can't wait to talk to y'all again.
Happy holidays. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.